Greetings, most honorable and masters of the martial arts. I am Travis.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Big Los.
And this is CTE, and this is going to be an experience for you. And just so everybody knows, we are sponsored by the Virtual Fight Tour. And coming up at the Diamond Nationals, will be a Virtual Fight Tour group fight where the lightweight fighter, grand winner, will fight the heavyweight grand winner for the overall for the Virtual Fight Tour championship.
The best of the best for the best. That's what we doing. Last man standing. Let's go. Also, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. Literally,
Did he say we can say it?
Breaking news.
Okay.
Yes, we got the word like just now on the news that on September 18th, VFT 10, the anniversary lineups are heating up right now, confirming and making sure everything is all, T's across, the I's are dotted. But we coming to you right now with the brand new drop, Virtual Fight Tour 10, the anniversary, September 18th. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, sure. I went to the Diamonds. I wasn't sure Chris got the okay for us to say it, so we were able to say it. The Virtual Fight Tour, Virtual Fight Tour 10, the anniversary will be on September 18th, which means that's really about 20 days. So yeah, it's coming up soon. Alrighty then. How was you guys last week, man? Like the last couple of days. There is no music because I'm actually in Detroit right now, and I do not have my setup correctly. But I did get a portable mixer. So,
Detroit versus everybody.
I forgot the cord. I had to get a new cord for my iPhone. So I can't.
So we ain't got no music.
We ain't got no music. I can do it the ghetto way and just play some music like up to the mic, but I don't feel like doing that. Yeah. So, matter of fact, Los, why don't you go ahead and drop a couple?
Nah, I ain't got none of that. I got nothing.
Come on, Travis.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. My voice is raspy right now. That's pretty much what I'm gonna give you guys. All right, but how was y'all week this past week, man? For you guys, before I get into the chaotic week that was mine.
My week was chill, just busy. We're just finishing up our summer camps weeks. So
Nah, man, pat yourself on the back, 95. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Gotta be like you.
We did a little something.
I'm gonna have to come up there and give me some mentorship, big Los. I'm serious about that though.
We talked about it. Just let me know.
What we talking about? What's the 95? Let the people know what's going on with the 95.
Los is killing the game with his schools, his programs, and just his model and his business and his people. Man, come on, man. That's the dude right there. I be watching him. I be following him.
Big money, Los.
I'm a small fragment, man. I'm just trying to find my way. That's all.
Whenever somebody says that, all right, whatever, man.
I'm trying to find my way, man. We did a little something. So I was excited about that. My team was excited. Everybody eats, right?
Exactly. 100% everybody eats, man. Chris, how was your week? Your weekend? All that good jazz.
Man, I had a pretty good week. I had a decent weekend. We had plans. We were going to head down to Florida, but the kids caught a fever. Nothing bad. All right, it's all good. It's just a little common cold, a little fever. But so that kind of threw a little monkey wrench in our plans. So Katie and I did some stuff here at the house and did some stuff with the kids. Maybe plan out for Labor Day next weekend to make up for what we missed. But busy. Like Los, trying to get the school, moving, keep it moving, well-oiled machine, training a little bit, maybe things will come up soon.
All right. Well, my week was kind of wild.
You've been moving around, right? Make a move.
Yeah. Wednesday, I actually headed out and drove back to Detroit.
How long a drive is that?
It was 10 and a half, only because it should have been 10, but I stopped and got some gas, got some food, used the bathroom, all that stuff. But usually I drive straight through, but so it was like 10.5 this time. Long enough, but you know. The other crazy thing is like, gas up here is nuts. Like, some places are 315, some places 340. Like in Atlanta, you can get 87 for 289, 290. So I'm like, all right, but so yeah, that was kind of crazy. Finally packing everything up and then getting everything moved out, and got my money back, my deposit back, all that good stuff. But and then if I wanted to get my PCR test, have you guys done that yet?
What's a PCR test?
The COVID test where they go all up into your brain.
No, I've done a COVID test, but I'm not doing the one where they go into my brain.
Nah, you're not
if there's a way they could test it and not have to go all the way up there, like they go, and then
that's just testing to see if you got the antibodies or something like that.
That's the antibody. Yeah, I was gonna say that's the antibody. Yeah. That's the one that I had.
To see if you actually have COVID, they got to go like all the way up into there and like touch your brainstem or whatever. And I did it, and it wasn't as bad as everybody make it. You cough a little bit, you're like, oh, all right. But other than that, you'd be cool with it. So I had to do that. I did that because I didn't want to. I wanted to make sure I didn't have anything because I've been bouncing around for a lot. When I came back here to see my parents, so I stayed in like hotels and stuff like that around the city, a couple of hotels for a couple of nights, and then I was at WKC Nationals Friday and Saturday. But just seeing the city is a little different. Being back home, seeing it during the day, it's just a little different. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. But can't wait to see everybody. But let's get into where you want to start with WKC. We want to start with Ross. We want to start with the controversial stuff that happened last week.
Let's start on the easy note. Let's start off with Turbo. Let's go with Ross in his Karate Combat debut.
Go ahead, C-Ball.
Ross looked good. Ross looked like he was settling it a little bit more. First off, Ross got the win, 3-round decision, unanimous decision, I think it was. Pretty sure, should have been. Caught Buddy with a back leg round kick, a couple round kicks. He was using a lot of calf kicks. His movement, slight switching off stances, controlling the gap. I mean, it looked like he did really well. He got his back put on that awkward fence, and he got taken down twice, I believe. But just being in that closer range probably stopped him from taking that blitz versus the trip and the takedown and the ground and pound and stuff. But
so let me ask you. I didn't get a chance to actually see all of it. I saw the highlights and stuff. But I didn't get a chance to see it because I was literally like in the hotels trying to get to the hotels and stuff like that because that was Thursday.
Yeah.
And so I got here Wednesday night. I got into a hotel and I thought I was gonna be able to get my PCR test, but I couldn't. So I had to get another hotel. I thought I was gonna get it back in time.
Right.
At my parents' house, but it didn't come in until like 11 o'clock at night. So I got a hotel. So I was just off. I didn't even get a chance to see it. But I saw some of the highlights of it.
Yeah.
And
I knew. Channel.
Yeah, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I saw how they were marketing it. I knew.
I thought he was going to be a little cleaner. I thought he was going to have a little bit more of an easier time with that. But I think the takedowns, the calf kicks, and then the border and the wall on the outside because they got entangled in the wall a couple times with like a rush takedown and a couple things. I think that put a little bit of a slight hesitation on what he usually would do, especially with that.
He had to adjust to it. He said it's different.
It looks a lot
hard border, and it's not. And this one doesn't have a hard border. So
right.
He was like, when he would back them up, and they would keep backing up, and so he was thinking like, all right, they got to stop, but they're going upwards. So it changes the trajectory of how you punching and kicking when they're going up on that thing. So he said it's a little different. My question was, with the takedowns, it's ground fighting, but it's not like grappling. So you hit a couple times and they break you.
You basically get like 3 seconds to ground and pound or until there's like a lull in action or something's not really happening, and they kind of stand you back up and then you get back to it. So you can use like Uchimatas and you can throw takedowns and hip tosses on a counter off or catch a kick and then sweep and take down and fire a few shots and then they
back up a little bit. Can you explain to Travis what a Uchimata is?
No.
A Hoochie Mama?
I knew that fool was.
Can you explain that? Because I'm a little confused. Listen, I'm already confused about this thing. I don't understand how you got a hoochie mama in the middle of a fight. Like, what is a hoochie mama? What is that like a grappling move? Like, what is that? Can you explain? Is that grapples?
Some people
is that like grapples? Like, what is
it's standing grapples to a takedown. So it's standing grapples. So we're in the same neighborhood.
The hip toss is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's a variation of a grip and a hip toss. Yes.
There you go.
That's all you get. Hoochie mama.
Who said hoochie mama?
All right,
so, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be an experience for you.
But I mean, I saw who they had him fighting against. The guy was like 0-2.
Yep.
Ross is undefeated, so I'm just like, and I don't mind it. It gives Ross a chance to get
find
acclimated to.
Yeah, it's Jeff and I were talking about this. It's only their third season, so they're not going to have a bunch of dudes who are like 9-1 and 5-0, and they're not going to have a lot of them dudes like that. So you're going to have dudes who are in and out from season 1 and not in season 2, but coming back for season 3, or first time people like debuters like Ross. Because they're doing a lot of really big things, getting GSPN, getting Boss Rutan, Robin Black. Like they're doing a lot of things to try to build in and build their brand. But yeah, they're also trying to push a little bit more a few of the Americans. So I see that building, and I like the way that they're utilizing things instead of trying to give a debuter to 5-0 just because Ross has that glory KO. They're going to put him against the dude who's super experienced and 142 Kyokushin fights and all that and whatever. So I like the build up. I'm just a little leery on how these things progress, being a main event of a show being an 0-0 and an 0-2. That's just kind of where I'm at. Give me, somebody's 2-0 and a guy who's 1-0 and make that the third level. But I also understand the marketing and the ploy behind that by drawing Ross, who is a bigger name, especially in our world. Yeah. So, it's just going to be kind of see the ebbs and the flows of how Karate Combat moves along, how they utilize their fighters and how they take that into the next level and push themselves to being on par with like a Glory or some of the kickboxing, because they're not yet going to be Bellator and UFC. So we got to find where they're fit in their niches in there, and then how they're going to explode to reach out to other people and other audiences.
All right.
I do like the pants and belt in a karate though. You can't go mad. You can't be mad at that.
Yeah, I'm not that.
What you don't like? It's kind of like rec pants.
No. Part of me wishes they kept the shirts, the tops,
the gi tops, or at least the top, the crisscross, or whatever the top, like he was rocking with Machida.
Some kind of a top, because I just look at it. I guess we'll get into we already kind of got into it last week. When we were talking about Century. To me, a lot of the places miss out on money by not having the tops, right? So if you have the
NASCAR,
tops,
yeah.
You have NASCAR logos you can put on number 1. Number 2, you also can be able to sell those uniforms, right? You can sell that top just as a top, like literally like a NBA jersey or something like that. You literally can sell those tops as fan paraphernalia. A fan apparel, like so, but yeah, whatever. Like, that's what I'm saying. But you know what I mean? Like, you can sell that type of stuff, and a lot of these organizations want to make it like boxing when you don't have to be. Like, you're missing out on actual potential money. And I probably shouldn't be saying this part over the airways, but I know somebody probably jump in there. But I'm just saying, I think people miss out on a lot of different ways to make money because they're trying to make it look like a dying sport. They're trying to make it look like another sport. I mean, come on. Jake Paul is pulling in more money than some of these other people, regular boxers. You know what I mean? Like, that's just ridiculous.
Hold on, time out. Since you said that, I read an article the other day. This dude said, as Jake Paul's training partner, and this dude fought in Bellator, I made more money in the 3 months as Jake Paul's training partner than I did in my 6 years of MMA career put together. Bro, so we talking money and that. Listen, that's what it is. But I don't want to get that much more time on my day. But I just
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just that a lot of when we start trying to emulate somebody else instead of highlighting what's unique about our sport. and too many sports do it. Too many organizations try and do that, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. Anywho, moving right along. Let's go on ahead.
On it?
I want Los's opinion.
I want Los's opinion on it if he got one.
All right. So here's my thing. I watched the fight. I watched it. I hope for Ross. Ross is getting paid. I hope that he is getting a bag from there. Because I would hate for him to go into it like I'm coming in and try to help grow this sport, as opposed to was there other opportunities that he could get a bag instead of putting himself in that position, right? I think the platform, first I would say after actually watching the platform, I don't see Raymond going into that. There just wouldn't be enough money and enough, there's no prestige. There's no prestige to it. Like there's no real, you know what I mean? Like there's no glory really behind it. And I don't say that knocking anybody that's doing it, but I hope that Ross is able to, if he's going to do a couple fights, however they're planning on using him, I hope he's able to get really paid from it. Because I would wonder if there was other opportunities that he could have possibly went to, especially with his growth and glory and what he was doing with that. As far as the fight goes, I personally, I didn't think that the guy was really that good. And I also didn't feel that Ross really showcased his real true level of who he is as well. And maybe that's part of what he kind of wanted to do, because if he goes out and he totally dominates this guy, they probably can't find another fight for him. Right. But I personally, watching the fight, I would like to see him kind of mixing up a little bit more, showing a little bit more, being more comfortable after he realized that the guy really had nothing for him. Seeing him become more comfortable and just whether, however you dominate the fight or how you take control of the fight, like literally like let loose your skills and your ability to who you are. Right. So again, I don't know if it was more like, he was like, I don't want to scare other people, because you know how that is too. When you scare other people, now you don't get anybody that wants to fight you. And if you're trying to build a sport, you have to try to, make people feel at least they got a chance.
Promote it, build it.
Right. But I still would like to see him kind of cut loose a little bit more within his ability of what I perceive him to be, right? In that arena. So there. That's my 2 cents. Agree. I hope he doesn't get the bag. I hope this is not how he's going to finish out his 3 to 5 years that he has to possibly really get a real bag. You get what I'm saying?
How old is Ross?
It's got to be 30s, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say probably.
He came out. I think he started fighting adults. Wait, what? 06?
06 or 07? No, later than that. 7 or 8, I thought, but maybe
no. Because when I came back, he was already fighting. So I think it was it might have been 07. I'm
thinking it's like 07.
He was already fighting 07, so I'm thinking he was like 06. To be honest with you,
maybe 06, because I was like 05. Nah, 05.
No, he wasn't fighting 05.
Nah,
he was not fighting 05. If it was I
maybe tail end like Diamonds, Pan Am's 07, but or 06. I mean, but yeah, I really remember him making that splash in 2007. I think that's when I fought him.
I think he might have fought in 06, but he wasn't 18. He was probably like 17, and he got turned 18 in like 06. So I'm thinking he might be 33 years old, maybe. So if he's 33, 5 years, yeah.
I mean, to try to accumulate
the most money, to make the most money.
You mean 3 to 5 years? I see, but like again, if this is going to be the platform, again, it's his money. He do what he wants. I'm just saying, and if I'm looking at him and the prestige that and the level that he is held at, or that we would kind of look at him to try to become, right? I would say would be kind of like he's the next one under Raymond that's out there really doing something what he kind of was able to build in sport karate. So I would love to see him be able to create enough money and income from that type of fighting for himself, that he can set himself up and his wife, soon to be wife, up for a good future, and whatever they decide to do after that point. He could say, listen, I made good money, I fought at a high level, and that be what it is.
Yeah.
So that's the point. That's it. We can move on. Sorry.
No problem. No. So sometimes you get quiet. And I was like, oh,
I watched it. I watched it. I was listening to the feedback, within our group, and I was just assessing my thoughts on it. and just thinking like what am I watching? Like, you know what I mean? And why?
I see. That's where I was having a difficulty time too with, because I was like, man, Ross got way more skills in this.
I would assume it's money. I mean,
I would assume I'm not
again,
trying to scare everybody by hitting them with a friggin' axe kick and a jump spin back kick and calling it a day.
I just would assume it would be money. If he chose karate combat over Glory
Lion
was having
fights,
those issues.
yeah,
Glory was having those issues. Just got bought out again. I mean, guy got
absolutely. I mean,
so it might be,
and it's like you said, they got Boss Rootman, they got GSP. You know what I mean? They had Machida on there with them and talking about working with them a little bit and stuff. So yeah, there's a great opportunity for him to network too with people on a different level as well, right? A lot of Raymond's success in the MMA world came from his connection with Corey Schaefer, right? Corey Schaefer continued to put him in good positions and good spots, right? So maybe this might be Ross's way of kind of getting in with those type of people that may say, hey, you know what? This may not have worked, but here's another opportunity for you in this other arena, and we're going to make sure you get the opportunity to make money and do what you got to do. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But again, my bad.
All right. Let's move on. Let's go ahead and get into WKC Nationals. I was there. I got to see things. It was interesting. I got a lot of thoughts on it. I don't know if you guys saw the streams from Sport Martial Arts.
I saw some of them. I didn't get to dive through and watch everything, but I did get to see some really good fights. So there were a bunch of names there.
Yeah, we'll start off. Of course, Avery was there. Morgan was there. James Poor, Anthony Merricks, Chris Gorham. Who else was there?
Don Cortolo was there.
Ronald Zabala. Dwight was there.
Like Team Revolution brought dang near their whole squad that was in the country.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them were there. I don't know who. Some of the people I know. Some of them I don't know. There's some local, some young local people. Kairos, who goes out, and Kairos Norman, he goes out and fights a lot. My boy Pete Davenport popped back up and fought. I was happy about seeing Pete Pablo. So I got to see him fight. Reggie Perry came out. He's fighting. Yeah, so it was a lot of people, man. I got to see some of the juniors up close, fighting and doing forms and things, and doing weapons. I need to go back because from what I heard, the women's forms division or weapons division, they outperformed the junior boys. Like they were killing it. Like from what I heard, I didn't see them because I was not judging that ring. So, but I heard it and I heard about it, and I need to try and find out where that, if there's someone has video of that, and watch those young ladies because I heard they did exceptionally well, and like just look way better than the boys. So it was kind of interesting to me when you hear that. So I wanted to go back and see that. So let's start off with Friday night. I got there and they were they had a nice size. It wasn't the same size as always. This is what I'm going to say. If you are a fighter, this should be the tournament you come to. And I'm saying that because it reminds me, not because of the size of the event, but there are certain tournaments that are fighter driven tournaments that you love to compete at, right? So like the battle is one. Ireland is another one. Those tournaments, like those are like fighting events, right? This one has double elimination. And it's interesting because like some of the double eliminations that I never even thought about what happens if it's only two people in the division. It's double elimination, and for first place, it's 2 rounds.
Oh, so there's only 2 of y'all.
So if there's 2 of y'all, you're doing
6 rounds, maybe.
Yeah,
You're definitely doing 4.
And you can't do 6. Like that. That is insane to me. Like you could do up to 6 rounds, fight that same person. If you are a fighter and you love to fight, because the continues was the same way. It'd be two. I think it was 290. No, it might have been 2 2-minute rounds. I can't remember.
I think it was 90 seconds. I think they're 90
it might
seconds.
have been 90 seconds. But I did that. I did that. And watching some of the seniors have to do this was hilarious. Like, it was just hilarious. Watching some of the senior fighters do this. This was Friday night. So they had to do 2 rounds. There was this one guy. Oh man, I wish I could remember the guy's name. Sean. He was from like Kentucky. Yo, when I tell you he was beating on these boys, he was in the 42 plus. He was in the 48. And did he do 35? I think he might have done 35 too. But he was down there. He was walking people down, boxing them, just bop, 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 and tearing them up. People that didn't know how to fight this dude, man. I was sitting there watching it like, yo, this is insane. He's playing with him, and to the point where he just wanted to fight. Like he was beating the crap out of these people. So there was that. Watching some of the young kids fight, doing continuous was interesting. Laco had some fighters there, some young kids, and those kids were going. So yeah, Friday night was a very intense, but it was, and it ended cool. It didn't end late. It was like 7:30, maybe 8:00, somewhere around that. For the Friday nights, we started everything at 4. I got there like 3. I had to work, and I got there like 4, and everything started, and we just ran the forums. And if you're doing forums, you do your form, and then you have to come back the next day and do the form all over again, a second round. So they make you win. Like if you're going to be a national champion, if you're going to win this tournament or win your division at this tournament, you're going to. There's no excuses. Like all excuses are out the window because you have multiple chances to prove you are the best person in this division. So it was a really exciting event on Friday night, watching some of these kids, some of these adults. Let me ask you this: what do y'all think about bowing out?
What is the reason why I'm bowing out?
Exactly. What's behind this? What is this? We've been fighting all day, and it's the 2 of us, and it's me and my homie from the dojo.
You don't know this person. You don't know this person. You showed.
I don't know you. I'm not bowing out.
Listen, my bones got to be sticking out of my arm.
Unless
there's
I'm injured,
be some reason
that's
for me to.
Not the case. Like if I don't know you, I'm not bowing out.
I'm not bowing out to nobody.
You can bow out to me, but I'm not bowing out at all. Like,
all right, so this is a scenario that happened in my ring, right? On Friday night. This is what happened. Like I told you, that dude was thumping some people up, right?
Yeah.
He was thumping some people up. So 42 plus division. Sean is over there. He's judging. I mean, he's not judging. He's coaching some of his kids. And he's an intense coach.
Yep.
To the point where I was kind of uncomfortable being around him while he was coaching.
Who?
This guy from Kentucky, Sean. I began with S. I can't remember the guy's name. But he was coaching his kids over in another ring. And I was standing back. And I was a judge in this one. He was supposed to come up for this division. And the guy, it was just 2 guys. It was just 2 of them. So I have to do 2-minute rounds. And the guy was like, you know what? I'm just going to bow out. And I said, all right, well. All right. So I started to go through the system. We were using Mad Action. So I was going to use the system. And he was like, well, wait, is he going to fight? I said, yeah, he's going to fight. And he's like, are you sure? Because he's not over here. Because if he's not going to fight, I'm not going to bow out. I said, huh? He said, look, if he comes over and he's going to fight, then I'll bow out. But if he's not going to come over here, then I'm not going to bow out to him. Okay.
I don't know who the heck you're talking about, but I'm gonna go ahead and bring back the Charmin Award. That right there is extra soft. Listen, you can't tell somebody if they're gonna fight, I'll bow out. But if they're not gonna fight, I'll take the win. Man, if that ain't the most participation trophiest, extra Charmony softest. Listen, I don't know. No.
Yeah, I think 50 had a song. It's called I Smell. Is that you, John? I smell. Is that you?
I remember House Party when they say, I smell. I smell.
I said, oh, wow. So I had to go get Sean. I went grab Sean. I said, hey, Sean, come do this. You got your division's up. He said, okay. So he comes back over, and he walks over. The guy says, oh, I'm just going to bow out to you. And he's like, so Sean's looking like, why did I have to come over here if you go bow out to me? He's like, I don't understand. Like, what's happening? Like, I don't get it. Like, and
you explained to him after the other dude walked away.
No, because something more happened. So this is going to be interesting to you. So the guy bows out to Sean. So we put it in the system finally. Guess what the next division is? 48 plus. Just those two. Dude looked at Sean and said, okay, now you bow out to me. Sean said, I'm not bowing out to you. He said, I'm not bowing out to you. He said, why would I bow out to you? He's like, I came here to fight. I want to fight. I'm doing all these divisions. I want to fight. Dude was like, he's like, all right, well, I'll bow out to you again. It's like, and so I was like, look, man, if we get to Worlds and I done won all these other divisions, and then we make it and we're the last two standing, then yes, I'll bow out to you at that point. If I got all my titles and it's like that, then yeah, I'll bow out to you, whatever. But he's like, no. Like, why would I bow out to you? Like, I don't understand.
You came here to fight.
Yeah, he said, I came here to fight. I want to fight. Like the whole thought process
the
behind
audacity.
Yeah. It was crazy. Like,
wow, I'm gonna say other words, but God bless America, ladies and gentlemen. Lois, go ahead. I'm gonna be quiet for a minute.
No, that's not happening. I think the only time that I bowed out, and it was WKC. I think me and Ricky fought each other, one round, and then we had to fight each other again. And we're just like, we both are going, like, you mean, so it wasn't. Yeah, you know what I mean, like we knew we both qualified, so it's like, why are we gonna do this again? Like, you mean, so we just let it ride out. That was it.
But see, that's what I did. I did, like, when I was in 2017, I was fighting in two divisions. So when I got over to the 18 plus, I fought through it and lost to Ant Merrick's. And so I had to go into the loser bracket, and I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm good. I'm like, I don't care about winning a national title. I'm like, yo, y'all fight it out. I got multiple divisions. I'm good. I just want to qualify.
I just want to qualify so I can go fight in the world
and then fight in the world. I'm not really thinking about all this. I've been like, this was probably June. So I had only been fighting like back after 10-year layoff. I mean, a 7-year layoff. So I only been fighting like 3 months. So I was like, man, it's a lot of fighting for me right now. My body is not performing. Matter of fact, I didn't sleep the night before. I literally had drove straight from Atlanta to Detroit, and I just hopped out the car. And I was in the tournament at like 8 a.m., like just dead basically at the middle of the night. Like, yo, so I was tired as hell. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna go through all this. But I qualified. I'll worry about the world title when that's it. But let me ask you this question: what area of the country do you think he was from?
The guy that bowed out?
Yes.
Like Indiana, Kentucky, somewhere around there.
Chris?
Yeah, probably like Pennsylvania area over there, a little bit more northern, what I would have said.
If I told you he was from New York.
I wasn't guessing New York. I was in Pennsylvania, New Jersey. I knew he wasn't from the South. I can tell you that.
All right, you ain't gotta say no more. I already saw a video of somebody from New York in one of the videos. So it couldn't have been that many people.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he's getting cussed out.
Oh yeah, say no more. Yeah, I'm sure about that too.
He's getting cussed out about his performance.
Yeah, I already know.
But anyway,
I already know who that one is. You ain't gotta say no more. I already.
Yeah.
Nope. That wouldn't surprise me though.
That wouldn't?
Nah.
Okay. I mean, I don't really know. No,
If it's who I think it is, nah.
All right. Let's moving on to Saturday. Wait, does anything else happen on Friday?
You stupid. You went through all that and it was like, he's from New York. that's tough.
I was
never got where from. I'm like Indiana, Kentucky. Like
I was gonna say what school he was from. I was gonna say what school he was from, but then I was like, nah, I'll leave it alone. But
no,
yeah. Anywho, let's move on. Let's go to Friday. I mean Saturday. Let's talk about because I got there. I didn't get the chance to see. As soon as I got there, I had to start judging. So I only saw some of the young girls. All right. Here's a scenario. Another scenario that happened while I was judging and I was uncomfortable with. All right. Y'all ready?
Kind of.
I think it was, I don't know if it was 11, 12, or 13, 14-year-old girls.
Okay.
6 girls in this division. They're fighting. First fight. There's one girl versus another girl, and this one girl beats the young lady, right? And the young lady was crying. She's crying, but it's double elimination, so she only lost once, so she has to fight again. And as she's fighting, she's crying, and she's scoring.
Okay.
She's crying, but she's scoring and she wins. She goes to the next fight. She's scoring and crying, not like motivated, but like I don't really want to be here. Turn her head, but then she move and then just throw a reverse punch and she would just score. She gets all the way back up to the girl who had ran through the other girls to fight her. The young lady is crying, and of course she starts to get her butt whipped again. And in the middle of the fight, she is saying, I don't want to fight. I don't want to do this. She's crying. Everybody around her is trying to cheer her on, but she's saying, I don't want to fight. She's getting hit. Should she have been fighting?
So here's where I'm going to take it. If she's emotionally distressed over it and she doesn't want to be out there, I'm going to stop the match and I'm going to say, hey, what is it that you want to do? Do you want to finish this or not? It's your decision. And let her make the decision. And then whatever her other people, they have to deal with what her psychological challenge is or what she's dealing with. They have to help her through that.
Yep.
Right? So if I was, that's kind of what especially if she was like, and you heard it, and it's like
she verbally said it in that fight. Like, yeah, I don't want to fight. I don't want to.
I literally would have stopped the like. This is so now we're talking about mental health, right?
Yes.
So at this point, as a person that that was in control of the match or whatever, I probably would have stopped it, checked on her, see what she really was feeling, what her real emotion was, and if she expressed to me at that point that she just did not want to continue, I would have gave her the opportunity to just bow out of the match.
Yep.
Right. Whether she was winning or not. Now, if she bows out, she doesn't keep the match. She doesn't keep her score. Like, you know what I mean? Like she doesn't move on. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No, she didn't say anything until the last fight. She just was crying. So you could tell she wasn't saying anything and she would score. And then she would just be, every time she got hit, she would,
I just don't want to do this. Yeah.
She didn't say anything. But then it wasn't until the last fight.
Yeah.
The girl who beat her earlier, who made her cry originally, and she has to fight her again. And she's like, hey, yo, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, she's crying. And, if she scores a point, the whole place would erupt and cheer her. But
maybe it's just, I don't know. Because obviously, years ago, I'd have been like, no, tough it out, da-da-da.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I feel myself personally, I'm even at a different place now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because I look at my daughter, like she literally does not like fighting, right? So when she comes to karate class or she was doing karate class, she would not like to fight. And I would be kind of like making her do it. And she literally one day was just like crying the whole time she was out there fighting, right? So I literally had to like stop her from doing it. And of course, me stopping her wasn't me just like being like the comforting father. I was more like irritated, like why are you crying? You get what I'm saying? Not really not really at the time really understanding what she's emotionally going through, and just her mental health and her struggles that she was and pressures that she was feeling in that moment. You get what I'm saying? And I listen to that story. It makes me a little sad because I think about that moment because I wish I would have handled it better. Where now I know, sorry, I'm getting cracky in my voice, but now I know when I see that type of emotion from her, how I have to pull back and become a different person as I'm communicating with her through that challenging time.
Yeah. I'm in agreement with that. My gut reaction was like, get out there and fight, but we gotta take into account, like you said, the mental health aspect of it, and making sure that they're comfortable, especially our young ladies. I mean, I know we're not supposed to treat boys and girls differently, and what I mean, yeah, we are, man, whatever. But
it is different.
It is. It's very different. Thinking about that and listening to Losa's story, it makes me have to actually check how I would think I would handle it, because I've done that with my son, and he's, go to class. You know what? Let's take today off. We'll get in a better space. I let you go, but you got to tomorrow we're going to have to put, get back and jump back in. I'll give you a day if you're not feeling good and it's really bothering you. I'm not going to sit there and make you do it while you're crying. I just can't do that. But yeah.
I guess the question is, at what point,
as a judge,
when to push your kids, not just your children, your biological children, but the kids that you were coaching, and when to push them and when not to push them.
I think you just, again, you have to have that level of connection with them. Yes. That you really know if they are really out of it. You get what I'm saying? Like, you just know when you're, and if she's like going against this girl and this girl already beat her, you know what I mean? So psychologically, she's already thinking like, I don't want to lose to her again. I don't want her to beat me, this, that, and the other. I'm not over her beating me again. And when you're having this conversation with the person, you got to kind of connect with them and see how real it really is, because she could have really been in a state of like, she may not want to do anything because she knows that she's got to face this girl. But at some point, she does have to get over that. But maybe it's just not at that moment right then. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah. So in that moment, what I did was I looked at the girl she was fighting and told her, hey, take it easy. Just back it up. Like, don't go hard. Like, just relax.
Win the fight. But yeah,
you're already up by 6. You're already up by 6 points. It's like,
oh wait, so she was already getting mopped again by 6 points.
Yes,
I don't want to do it no more either. It's a wrap. I'm done.
No, she was getting. Say that part, Travis. She would get hit and would fly across the room, to the ring. I'm like, and whenever the girl would come at her, she would turn her head, and I'm like, yo, don't turn your head. I'm trying to say certain things like, yo, don't do that. Like, and so I'm telling the other girl like, yo, just kind of ease up, like. And the girl just didn't understand. So she just kept going. And I'm like, and her coach was still egging her on to like push. And I'm like, no.
Shut this down, bro.
Like, just like, and what had happened was, so after she would score, I would walk slowly, take a long time before
take 4 or 5 extra. Yeah.
I would take longer times to say go. I would look around like, you okay? You all right? I would do all this other stuff to let the time to like just go out, like speed this up, because I was like, all right, clearly you're not getting what I'm saying this, because I don't want to just end the fight, but I kind of want to end the fight. So it was kind of like, all right, well, so that was another thing that another situation that came up about that happened. Yeah, so
you didn't say that part. I thought she was just in a fight with a girl. Like,
no.
She was already getting mopped. She was already getting smashed on again.
Look,
so she's like, I don't want no parts of this.
Some of these fights, she would be down and it would come back crying, but like she just was throwing stuff just to throw it, and it would work, and it would just score. And I'm like, I was literally, as a judge, I'm calling these points, but I'm like, I just want you to lose because I want this over with. I don't want you to have to go to the next round. Like, but she was winning, and I was kind of like, well, you're scoring, and the other girl, I don't know what you're doing, but okay. you're messing this up. Like you're just not paying attention or something. But and the girl ended up winning and getting back and got silver. So it was just crazy.
That's a lot. God bless.
Yeah. So the next thing that came, we're probably gonna go a little longer than an hour, people, just so y'all know this. Next thing that happened was this was actually Friday. It was in continuous. It was young boys fighting, and it was a very close match. You got to win by 2. And this one kid, he wins it. He was crying at the end of the round, and he wins this he wins this fight, right? Actually, it wasn't continuous. It was regular. It was regular fight. He wins this fight. Boom. Right? It was only those 2 in there. So what was told to me that when you was only those 2, you're just gonna do those 2 rounds and that's it. It's not gonna be double elimination. Just do those 2 rounds. I said, all right, cool. We do this. Boom. We award him the winner. Boom. The losing side is like, no, this is supposed to be 2 rounds. It's double elimination. We got another shot at it. And I was like, well, look, I just talked to him. My uncle, he said, no, it just is what it is. And so they went arbitrated and everything else. And guess what happened? I had to do the second fight.
Of course. It wouldn't have been a big deal if nobody complained about it. But go ahead.
Other rings had not been doing this. So, and some rings had did it. So it was like, it was a little inconsistent because basically it was kind of like some people were saying, yeah, we can do it. Some people, we can't do it.
I think we talk about this all the damn time, don't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, guess what happened? That kid who lost, was beating the brakes out this.
That's what happens.
Yo, he was beating the brakes out this kid, and so that kid was crying the second fight. But guess what? He won. So guess what has to happen?
They gotta have a third fight.
Another 2-minute rounds, and he was beating the dog crap out of this kid, and he won. I was just like, ugh. And so for 5 rounds, this kid was crying, getting beat up in this fight. He wasn't saying he didn't want to fight. He just was not. He just was not winning. He pulled out an Eker at the first fight, and the rest of it, that kid just mopped him. So it was kind of interesting to see that. But it's like I kind of knew it. I kind of knew it halfway after the halfway mark after the first round of the second fight, and I was like, This is it. This kid's winning it. Like that's it. This kid is determined. He was angling.
Good for their family too.
And it's like, woo. But yeah.
All right. Technically, they both qualified anyway, though, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. They both qualified. They go into Worlds, representing the Nationals. So now let's get into the adult black belt men fighting and women fightings that happened on Saturday.
Yeah.
Chris, did you see any of the fights? Los, did you see any of the fights?
I did not.
I saw a couple here and there. I saw like Kairos and Ronald, and I caught a couple of them, but I didn't see enough that I wanted to. I didn't get to see James and Avery. I didn't get to see like a lot of that stuff. So
I didn't get to see. I saw the James and Avery fight. I was still judging, so I could not see. I didn't get a chance to watch everything. But I did get to see like peek in between rounds and things. I got to look over and see who was fighting and who fought each other. So Pete Davenport, he beat Kairos and Ronald to win that division.
Yep.
I'm not sure what weight class it was. I'm not sure where it was at. It just was what it was. James Poor and Chris Gorham had a heck of a round. So they had to do 5 rounds, I think. It wasn't 6, it was 5. Because Chris beat James early. I think they had to win by 2, and I think Chris won. And so then James went to the losers bracket and came back through to fight Chris in the for first for the gold medal. And I just remember looking over. I don't know how long that fight was. But I think we did about 2 rounds, 2 different fights before they were finished, and they were still going. Like so, James had beat Chris. He beat him to both of those times. I didn't get a chance. I heard that it was not close. I heard that James got off. Chris got tired, and James that just shows you James has been competing, has been getting back out there, and has competed in VFT and a couple other things. And I think this is Chris's first event since COVID. Did he fight in? I'm trying to think. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure when the last time Chris competed. But yeah. Sure. So I heard, and James looked like James. James looks good. So he won that, and then it was who else? John Curatolo. I didn't get to see him fight. I do know John Curatolo won his division, because I asked him. I said, "Yo, how did you do?" I said, "Did you win?" He just gave me that look like, "Of course." I said, "All right." And so I think he opted not to do the grands. I think he opted out. I don't know. But I think Dwight, I believe, won one of the divisions also. I saw some of it. I can't remember who he fought, but he was in shape. He was winning. And then Avery versus Ant. These are Ant's words, not mine, because I did not see the fight. Avery beat my ass. he said, "No, I look like crap." He said, Avery just killed me. I didn't see the fight, so I don't know how any of that played out. So, but yeah, Avery won that division. So then it was Avery, Pete, James, and I'm not sure who else was in the grands, but I believe James beat Pete, and then James had to fight Avery, and Avery beat James in the 2 rounds for the grands. I have video of James and Avery's fight that I am going to release today. Since you guys listen to it on Tuesday, you guys will see it today. It will be released today of Avery and James. I have other fights, but they were from Great Lakes Pro-Am, which is on Sunday, and we haven't gotten to that yet.
Did you get permission to broadcast these videos? Did you get permission from the people?
From my father, who recorded it?
I just want to make sure you got permission from the people.
No. I mean, yes, I got permission from my father to
you can't take someone else's videos and put them on your platform. And
I clearly,
I just want to let you know that you can't have any other videos that don't belong to you.
That's the funny thing that did happen this weekend. A lot of people did walk up to me and express their sentiments on our podcast, and just different things. So shout out to everybody who walked up to me. Some people I knew, some people I didn't know.
Some person was like, "Is that Travis from CTE?"
Yeah. So I was talking to Avery. I was messing with Avery because on Friday I finished my division before him, and he was in a ring next to me, and I was like, "Hey man, y'all still running? Y'all still running your ring?" And he's like, "Man, come on, get out of here! Don't do that." So just a little playful banter or whatever. And then once I walked off, some woman walked up to him and was like, "Hey, I'm sorry, was that Travis from CTE?" And Avery was looking like he did used to fight and everything. But yes,
he used to be a fighter. Like,
but she said, but he's like, yeah, that's him. That's him. He's my, But yeah, so and it was another interesting thing. Sue came up to me. Sue Diaz came up to me, and we were talking, and she said she introduced me to one of her juniors, a new young black girl fighter. And she introduced me. She was like, her name was Amber, and I was like, "Oh, I'm Travis Plowden." And she said, she heard Travis, she just looked, and then she heard Plowden, she just stopped, looked like, "Another one?" It's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, we're around here, but yeah. So that was interesting. It was interesting to interact with people, especially with people. Quoting certain things from our podcast, which was hilarious, but that was funny. People just walking up saying certain quotable things that we've said on this podcast. So that was hilarious. But yeah, all in all, that was and then Morgan won overall. I saw some of the people who were fighting. Audrey was there, some of the young ladies who were fighting there. I don't know who broke down what. I just know I saw from the corner of my eye, I saw Morgan fighting. and I know she won overall grands. But that was Saturday. That's what happened on Saturday, and then Sunday is my uncle's original tournament.
Right.
The Great Lakes Pro-Am. Which was something interesting. I like by this day I had no voice. Like my voice was completely gone, and so I didn't have to judge. So I got there, and I just got to sit down and just kind of watch everything. And then somebody walked up, David Prane. He walks up and he says, he was talking to my uncle, asking about the division, how to break down the buys and everything, because they were using Mad Action. And he was like, "Hey, look, we got 3 people." And my uncle broke it down like, all right, the first 2 fight each other. The next person, the winner goes one. You have 1 buy. You go da. He broke it down normal, and I looked at him like, "Yo, why would you have to tell somebody how to, break down?" He said, "Oh no, we do round robins here."
Huh?
I was like, round robin. I'm like, "You mean everybody fights everybody?" He said, "Yeah, but I didn't want them to do that in that just 3 people. So we'll do you just do the normal way." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so when I saw the black belt men's division, they did a round robin. So yeah, the first 2 people fight, and then there'll be it was only 3 people in these divisions. So in the lightweight division, it was I think this whatever weight classes was. It was Chris Gorham, Dallas Allison, and young name by Colin Batusa, something like that. So these 3 were fighting, right? So I think Colin and Dallas had to fight, and then the second fight was Chris and Colin or Dallas. Yeah, Chris and it was Chris and Colin, and then Dallas had to fight Colin, and then Chris had to fight Dallas. Okay. And out of that, Chris won both of them. Dallas beat Colin. Yes, okay, that's what it was. It was Chris versus Colin first. Chris beat Colin. So then Colin had to fight Dallas, I believe, and Dallas beat Colin. So that meant that, and then the third fight, which was in the way it broke down, was that since both of them had 1 win, that means Dallas and Chris fought, and then Chris beat Dallas. So how it breaks down, I'm curious as to how it actually works when you got 4, 5, 6, 7 people. How all of this breaks down with everybody fighting each other.
In a round robin version, like
crazy. And the system actually did it. That's what shocked me about it. The system was set up that you actually could do a round robin in the system. So that was pretty cool, because I've seen double elimination, but it was actually kind of cool that they actually had the system putting it out that you had to do a round robin. So have you guys ever fought in a round robin at a tournament?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I've done it in the school. Everybody has to fight each other.
Everybody got to fight everybody. Yeah. That's fine.
But yeah, I've never done it. So the whole concept behind it just kind of blew my mind about how it goes. And it just it just sat back and made me think about different areas of the country and who caters to fighters. Right? Like, I've never seen a tournament where they're doing a round robin. Like, I've never seen that. Like, I remember going to certain tournaments and blowing my mind seeing the tag team match. I remember going and doing double eliminations and being able to, you suck the first round because you just were cold. And then next, you end up winning the division because you came through and just got mad or whatever. And you end up winning. But yeah, so that was just interesting to see. Would you like, if you were still active, would you like to do a round robin?
I'd fight it.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what it is.
It is what it is. I'm here to fight. So whatever division y'all want to put me in, whatever the rule sets you want to be in. But yeah.
Yeah, I would like to do it just because I would like to see it. I would like to compete in it. Not because of anything else, but I just want to compete in it. Like, I've never done this before. It's a new challenge. Something that's a little bit different. So yeah, I was interested in that. All right, now, in that on that day, so Chris Gorham came out that division, and then once again it was Ronald, Kairos, and Peter Davenport. Pete beat Kairos first, and then Kairos beat Ronald in overtime. Those two went at it. That was a really good fight. That fight, did I post that one? I think I posted that one already. That was a really good fight. But here was the kicker. Pete didn't have to fight Ronald. I was confused by this because they said that since if Pete had to fight Ronald, it was over already. So Pete won the division because he had beat Kairos, and Kairos had already beaten Ronald. So somehow the tiebreaker, the way it would have broken down, I was confused. I was confused. As I'm saying, I was a little confused on that one.
Bro, you can't be like, this is the fighters tournament, and you get there, you confused as all hell as to what the hell is going on.
I'm saying, like, that was confusing. That portion was
how does the one go with the three go how you just explained it? And this one is just
because
like
it came down to the order of the fights, just like anything else. It came down to the order of the fights. And because Ronald had lost to Cairo, who lost to Pete, it was over with. It threw me off. It's similar to if you lose in the first round, and then your next person, the next division, the next round up, they lose. Technically, why are they third and fourth? Because they got to beat somebody. You never got a chance to beat somebody.
Travis, you're not selling me on this one, brother.
I'm confused on it. I'm just telling you. Yeah. I'm a little confused on how that worked. I thought.
Yeah, Ronald, well, you just transitioned from one thing that was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I wouldn't mind doing that. And then the same scenario is not the same thing.
And the next division, it was the same thing. That's what I'm saying. That's what threw me off. It threw me off on how that.
What happened in the next division?
Next division was
they had a fight.
No. It was Grants.
Oh,
Ant didn't have anybody in the heavyweight division. Avery didn't fight. So Ant didn't have anybody in the heavyweight division. So it moved on. It was the Grants. So it was Pete, Ant, and Chris Gorham. And then the senior winner. I can't remember the guy's name who was the senior winner. Will something. And then so what ended up happening is Ant drew Will. Chris and Pete had to fight. Pete beat Chris. Then Pete had to fight Ant, and they had a all-out fight. And Ant ended up winning it at the end. And they had to do 2 rounds. Basically what ended up happening in the second round, you know how Ant starts to yell at itself and trying to motivate and get itself focused, like, damn, if he gets scored on, if he does anything. At the same time, the emotions started to get high, and Pete got emotional. So when Pete got emotional, Ant did the slick stuff and would shoot right off the line. Pete wasn't ready for Ant's shot coming off the line, and Ant would be able to got back into the fight, ended up taking over the momentum of the fight, and he ended up taking it from Pete.
Okay.
And so now, last thing.
Yes.
The women's division.
Okay. That's what I've been waiting on.
I was impressed with some of these young ladies.
Okay.
I want to make sure I name all of these young ladies because they were out here fighting. Right. All right. We had Audrey Malik, who's fought in the DFT. We had Rasha Al-Nady. We had Linda Group. We had Avery Sutter. We had Angel Prame, and we had Shakai Springer. First fight was Rasha and Lynn. Lynn beat Rasha. Lynn had a nice sidekick. She's a tall young lady. The cruiserweight division, and she was sticking her Rasha. So she beat Rasha. Then it was Audrey and Shakai, I believe. Avery and Angel had buys.
Okay.
Shikai beat Audrey. Then it was Lynn versus Angel. No. It was Lynn versus Avery and Angel versus Shikai. Shikai beat Angel. Lynn lost to Avery. And then it was Avery and Shikai, and Avery won. Now, the reason why it was so interesting for me about Avery winning, Avery is 15 years old. Avery probably weighs about 107 pounds. Like, Avery was a small young lady. So when she beat Lynn, she was on her way. And she had a nice right leg side kick. So she kept catching Lynn. And whenever Lynn tried to transition from kicking to punching, she angled well. She would get caught in the corner sometimes, and Lynn would be able to get to her. But these videos should be coming up that day, today also. I'll be posting these today too. But if you want to see these young ladies fight, they were impressive. They were intelligent fighters.
Okay.
They weren't just throwing their leg and then following up. They weren't just blitzing for no reason. They were angling. They were moving. They were changing the pace. So I was actually impressed with these young ladies' fights. So make sure you guys check those out. They should be out. They should be out today, or I'll put them out tonight, whatever. But yeah, those young ladies were fighting, and they did a good job. The Shikai and Avery fight was very close. But Avery pulled it out, and for her to be 15 to win, to fight against these young ladies, it was impressive. So congratulations to Avery Sutter. All right, and that was it, man. That was for the most part. That was Great Lakes Pro-Am WKC Nationals.
It was always a good tournament.
Yeah, it was a good tournament. Great Lakes was smaller than it usually is. Just from the COVID standpoint. But it was good to see people out, and yeah. Do we want to get into this last part? We got to get into it.
We got to do it. You already know we got to do it.
Maybe we got to get into it.
What's that?
Come on, you boy.
Yeah, we got to get into your boy Alex Dingman.
Your boy Skip.
Alex Bayless, Skip Dingman.
What do you do?
He made a comment like he be sometimes doing because doesn't always.
But here's the thing. What really makes me upset about it is that I'm disappointed and upset about it is that if you watch the video, I mean, if you listen to the podcast from last week, Inside Scoop, they had Joe Greenhall on there.
Woo!
And Joe was going off. Like Joe was talking about how how come the New England Open isn't active. It's not because he doesn't want it. It's because they won't let him have it.
Nope.
They won't vote him back into NASCAR to let them have the New England Open.
They will not.
The board is not allowing him to have it. He can have it. It just be independent. Which is something
they won't recognize it on the NASCAR world level.
Yeah. So he's like, wait. He's talking about how Charlie Lane went away, came back. He's like, but they're not letting me come back. I don't understand why they won't let me come back. So he was upset about that. He was upset about other things too. And so they had a great conversation. Like they were going off.
How'd it turn left?
Well, it started. It was before. So before we brought Joe onto the show, they were reviewing America, and Alex Dingman just kind of went off and said, "Hey, I don't care about the women competitors this weekend. I don't care about who blah blah."
I didn't care about who did what, and I didn't really care about them.
I don't care about them. I don't care about talking about them. I don't want to talk about them. And Jeff kind of was like, "But why?" And Jackson got into the comments, was like, but it was literally Sammy Smith versus Haley Glass.
Head to head.
Yeah, head to head. And he was like, oh yeah, okay, I retract my statement about that. But because he originally said forums and fighting. But then when Jackson said that, he was kind of backed it off. But he said, I still don't care about, the women fighters. And I'm like, these young ladies they're starting their careers out. Some of them are working to get better, are getting better. I don't understand. I mean, I don't get it. Like I don't understand why you would say that you don't want to even didn't care to watch it or anything like that. Like, so he kind of misspoke. He said what he said, and then of course, the next day people were calling Alex and Jeff, and I'm like, "Yo, y'all missed all this goodness talking."
Who
about
called him?
Connell, because Connell, those were some of his fighters. Connell loved him.
Yeah, a lot of them were his women. Like
Yeah, a lot of them
there. Like, and I want to retract that because I said last week that I didn't see Alexa and I didn't think she was there, but I just had bad information. So, you know.
And I didn't know the size of the divisions.
Well, yeah, they said there were like 18, 19 open weight fighters in the women's division. I didn't really see any streams from the women's division because open weight was Friday. And there was no streaming right at that point. So we missed a lot of that. And then women's teams as well, because there were 6 or 7, or there was a good number of women's teams, which there typically isn't. So the fact that we didn't get the right information, we didn't
there could have been probably more women fighters than there were men fighters, and nobody realized it.
It could have been, and
nobody reported it.
Nobody reported it.
Nobody said anything about it.
And there you go. That's the problem that we have.
Which comes right back to the statement Alex made of saying, I don't care about it, but you would have if you knew when it was there, right? If you sit back and watch, like somebody could have said easily, I don't care about who won women's this weekend. But if you sat and watched some of these women fighters, you're like, oh, shoot.
This was good.
They look good. Like they're improving. I'm looking at them and how they're fighting as opposed to, honestly, a couple years ago, maybe about it'd be like 2014, 2013. Some of the women fighters, they didn't fight smart. They were just kind of just throwing certain things. And it was like, okay. But
isn't that like the same thing Alex just said? Like you saying that the women back then just weren't smart?
No, I'm saying how those women. I'm saying that some of those women were not as good as the women are today. I'm saying that.
He's seeing the strides and improvements.
I'm just saying that sometimes you get lulls. Like let's be realistic. Some of the fighters in the past were men fighters were not as good as some of the ones that were before them, or it'd be like some certain lulls in the division.
There were a couple of years in the men's division where I didn't think the men's winner, the people who were winning the men's division, could have beat the runners up or second place guys.
Some of the heavyweight divisions,
other areas. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember some of the heavyweight divisions back in like 08, 07, 06. Like you look at it, you like, you won. Like you, all right. And you go to certain tournaments, and you're like, okay, that person's not that good. It just is what it is. But to say you don't care about the division, like, all right, well,
yeah, that's not where it's at.
It's a little weird. It's a little. I get it, I guess, because you don't know the fighters, and he was complaining.
I think to me it sounds like he doesn't know who the fighters are that are out there, so it's hard for him to build a connection with them because he doesn't know who they are. So he's not. Again, I'm not speaking for him, but he's not. He's also not going to research and find out who those people are because there's not an interesting name that is drawing him to it.
Right. I would say this, like, for me, it's more so like, I'm not talking about him, but for me, it's like, you don't know somebody, you don't know how good somebody is until you actually watch them.
Yep.
Like, just because, and it also goes back to one of the things we talked about before, where our sport, if somebody's not winning overall grands, we're basically saying they're not good.
But that's what, again, just think about what you just said, though, right? Because you said you can go look at a fighter and see a fighter that's good, but then they're not as good as people that are winning the overall grand. But within who they are, they actually are good and have probably a projection of becoming better and getting better.
Yes.
Right.
And to be honest with you, there's a small set of people who are overall grand championship winners at national events.
Yep.
But I mean, there's not other good fighters. There are other fighters that are,
Yeah, absolutely. Ton of talent.
Right. But it's just not as good as the person who ended up winning overall grand.
To say you lose to Bailey and you're not that good doesn't necessarily stack up.
Correct.
Or Enrique or Avery or whomever. Yeah, you're right.
Right. So, so it's like, all right, well, we'll see. But yeah, so unfortunately he stepped in it, and then it was being reported on another site about I guess we don't care about women or some crap like that. I don't know, man. It goes into certain things. People start trying to peg everything. I'm like, why is somebody calling Jeff and asking Jeff about this? You know what I mean? But it just is what it is. Certain things be reported, trying to be exaggerated. But
yes.
So were we just kind of like speaking our opinion on what we felt?
First of all, I spoke to him like, yo, you can't do that. Because we literally after the show, we had like another 35-40-minute talk about like, yo, why would you say that? Like, what were you thinking? You know what I mean? We literally had, me and Jeff were sitting there on the conversation with him, talking to him about it. Because it was like, yo, you're wrong here. Like,
but 35 minutes sounds like a long time for someone that you're trying to show them their ways that they may not have seen.
We all know
wrong,
Alex, bro.
And then
we know Alex. So it's just Alex is Alex. And, one of the main reasons I brought him on because he had different views, but it comes with it. That's who he is. It's like, but with that being said, it's like sometimes, but you still have to point it out to them, because maybe they won't do it again. They won't look at it that maybe they'll change their viewpoint. You know what I mean? Like,
but it takes 35 minutes to explain that.
It may take years.
Sometimes.
It may take years. Yeah. Think. Let's go back to the if somebody had told you like, yo, no, seriously, if somebody told you back years ago when you were, talking about your daughter, and you like somebody came like, hey, don't do that. You gotta be more gentle or more about the mental health. At that point in time, you probably wouldn't even be receptive to it. You know what I mean? And then, when you get older, you're like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. So maybe sooner or later, maybe it will get through to them later.
Do you think that the response and the impact that the comments or whatever he may have said may resonate a little bit more with him? Like maybe at the time he didn't think of the impact of what he said, and then kind of all things that's kind of compliment. You think that's kind of giving him a little more perspective as to how
I will 100% tell you it did. I 100%.
Did it?
It did.
Okay, yeah.
It didn't hit him the night of.
Yeah.
But when I talked to him, I want to say Thursday. I talked to him again on Thursday about it. And he said, "Oh, okay, I get it. I understand." And it just took a little bit different. And I'm like, yo, but of course, he's still Alex, but he still understand what I was talking to him about, and he kind of saw it. I'm at that point. So, but I mean, it's a part of, it's part of what we do here. Like we say our opinions, right? And some people are going to disagree with our opinions, and sometimes we may put our foot in their mouth.
Correct.
That's what I love about our network, is that we don't all think alike. We all have different.
Not all cookie cutters. It's not all,
Right. And we're not afraid of actually saying what's on our minds. Now, understand, sometimes when
that happens, you may have to change your viewpoint.
So I have a lot of stuff in my mind that I don't actually just say. You mean if I'm going to say it, I'm going to put the words together that maybe you'll understand a little better where I'm coming from from my perspective is what I would say, right? From my perspective, this is how I see whatever. Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff that I say that's on the tip of my tongue that I'll just be like, blah. Like, you mean, like, just can't do it.
Yes, that's because you got a message from somebody and they checked you, and then now you scared to say your opinion.
Nah, ain't nobody checking me. Ain't nobody checking me. They can check me all they want.
But yeah. All right, man, let's get out of here, man. We over time. We over at 120. All right, we got anything else? Is there anything else y'all want to talk about before we get out?
Sir, you gonna drop that music on the way out? Let's go.
Yeah. What? You know what? We're gonna do this music.